Hey class, just wanted to connect with you on the final project of the class, which would be the HAT, the Hallmark Assessments component, and this is our thematic analysis. So sometimes I know I could mention those and they sound like two different assignments, and I don't want you to think that. It is one assignment. The Hallmark assessment task is the thematic analysis. So what this is kind of the culmination of where you started. When we jumped into the final portion of this class, we were looking to delve deeper into a topical area in the history of higher education. Thielen's always done a great job of doing a good broad overview, but sometimes you don't get to dive deeper into an issue. So I usually take three overarching themes in higher education history that are definitely worth diving a little deeper into. So that's why you have the three different books that you choose from. The College Sports in America, the Blacks in Higher Education, and the Women in Higher Education. Those three overarching theme topics and the books associated with each of those. And so what the thematic analysis does is looking at thematic analysis 1, which was for you to tell me why you chose this route, why was it of interest to you, why it was of interest to post-secondary education administrators. And then thematic analysis 2, you dove a little bit deeper into a topical area connected to this, and you did some research, you connected some components there. And what you're going to do for 3 really is to pull all of that together and dive much, much deeper. So I noticed already in thematic analysis 1, many of you started identifying components of why it's personal to you and why it's of interest to post-secondary higher education administrators. And in 2, you all started expanding on some of those themes, and there's still opportunity to make sure you go deep into these pieces. And that could be things like, what does it mean for better diversity representation for staff in higher education for the future? And that's obvious that Black students have identified oftentimes that they don't feel like there's someone here, whether in the faculty or the staff, that they feel they can make a connection to, that look like them, that have some of the same experiences that they've had before. And there's really a void, an opportunity to make that connection. That's a theme. That's a theme that you would dig deeper in, that you would find research that supports it, and you explain why it's important. And give some historical context to it. That's the bigger piece of this, since this is a history of higher education course. You will give much more deeper of the historical context to this. So you'll explain what was going on. For example, if you chose college sports in America, you'll look at the early beginnings of college sports and how it evolved, how it grew, and how it became what it is, so that when you start looking at issues such as the arms race in higher education, as far as like stadiums, or if you took the issue of looking at scandals in higher education with college sports, or if you looked at significant pay gaps between administrators in athletics versus administrators in the rest of the institution. Those are all pieces that have good historical components that you can look back, get research on, quote Thielen on, those types of things. So you're kind of pulling all of that together into one paper that has an introduction that sets up the problem, just like any standard paper. It has an intro to kind of set up the problem. You build into the historical context of the concerns. You dig deeper into connecting what are issues and opportunities for post-secondary higher education administrators, and you make sure that each of that is all backed up with historical context, and then you have a good conclusion of things that would make the paper flow more smoother. So just wanted to kind of give you that quick touch base there, so that you kind of knew what we were looking at, what our goal is with the paper as we close out the course. Now, the books that you read can be also great resource references, things to that effect, but I don't want you to think it has to follow this almost bibliographic connection to that book. That book was really a topical entry point for you in that specific area, subtopic that we dove into. It's a good basis, a good kind of primer for you to have had that information on. And then you layer on other outside research and that book and the Thielen book to support some of your thoughts inside there of challenges for post-secondary higher ed, contextual history components, all those types of things, the issues that you've identified and wanted to research. So hope that makes it a little bit more clear for you. Wanted to just kind of give you that summary as we're closing out the course. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me and we will wrap up this semester. Thank you all.